Hey everyone, it's Ryan Henry with INSPIREsmall.biz, and on this episode of the Bright Ideas Show today we have Pavithri Kilgore with KPSK Consulting, and we'll also have some more to share about upcoming events and items in the INSPIREsmall.biz library. Let's get to it. Hey everyone, it's Ryan Henry with INSPIREsmall.biz, and the Bright Ideas Show here today is being broadcast from Refinery 46 in Indianapolis, Indiana. That's 2201 East 46th Street, just north of the Indiana State Fairgrounds. What is Refinery 46? Well, it's a great co-working space right here in central Indianapolis with membership that starts at just $150 per month. And they also have some private office space available for the businesses that need dedicated space with a locking door. Make sure to join us this Friday, August 4th, for the very first Sparks lunch that'll be at Jockamo Pizza at the corner of 56th and Post in Indianapolis. We have closed registration officially now because we have more registrations than we do seats. So if you are registered, make sure you come and join us. You'll learn about what we're going to do with the relaunch of Sparks, as well as hear some more about the speakers that we have coming up. Also on Wednesday, August 9th, so a week from this Wednesday, we have the first Sparks After Hours. That's at the Northside Events and Social Club at 2100 East 71st Street in Indianapolis. Join us for an evening of tacos and inspiring stories on comebacks. Our speakers include Danny O'Malley, Amanda Starr, and Jeff Utzinger. Tickets are just $25 if you register in advance, $35 if you pay at the door, and if you're an INSPIREsmall.biz member, your ticket is either discounted or free, depending on your membership level. Before we get to our guest today, Pavithri Kilgore, I'd like to share a recent video with you posted in the INSPIREsmall.biz library. Sarah Kendrick with Rhea Services share why it's important to keep track of auto bill payments that you have set up.
One special note on your bills and how they get paid is auto pay accounts. Now, they are great until they are not great. I'm not a big fan of subscription services and auto pay accounts for this very reason. They are built with the idea that you will forget to cancel them if you don't want them anymore, because they will continue to bill you for those services as long as your accounts are open or as long as your credit card is active. I was working with another family. So another part of the work that I do is actually helping families to finalize things after losing a loved one, helping them close down accounts and shut things down. There's a lot to manage, and so I'm able to come alongside them and help them do some of that work. And one of the families that I was working with, the father had owned a business and had a lot of things set up on auto pay for his marketing and for his subscriptions and for his ads and all of that. And when he passed away, it took them about 6 months to get an executor named with the probate process, because he didn't quite have things set up as they should have been. And they lost so much money because of those auto pay accounts, because even though he was gone, his business was no longer active because those cards were still open, because that probate process can take a while. They kept billing and they lost all of that money just because they didn't know how to get things shut down otherwise. So yes, auto pay accounts, you can have them, just make note of them so that someone could get to those quickly and shut them down if needed.
All right, everyone, now I'd like to introduce our live guest here in studio today, Pavithri Kilgore, who is the owner of KPSK Consulting. Pavithri, how are you doing today?
Doing good. Thanks for having me, Ryan.
Well, Pavithri, thank you so much for taking time to join us here at studio to share about your business.
Thanks.
So Pavithri, let's talk about your career before you started KPSK Consulting. What did your career look like previously?
Pretty much exactly what it looks like today, except with very large corporations. So I have been doing HR for about 20 plus years. And I was doing it for multi-state, multinational corporations for almost all of it before I started KPSK.
Oh, wow. And so what was the final straw where you decided to start your business?
Well, I think it was in 2018 that I decided to kind of leave the grind of the corporate world and joined a small business here in Indy. And honestly, I enjoyed it quite a bit, but it was really that eye-opening aha moment for me to say, not a lot of small businesses have the resources or the ability to have a depth of knowledge HR within the company. I was working with a gentleman who tried to tell me that company policy superseded state laws,
Wow, that's not good. That gets you in a lot of trouble.
which basically got me to kind of stop and go like, I'm sorry, what did you just say? Exactly, right? I was like, okay, not quite how this works. And that combined with few of my friends and my husband chirping in my ear going, you should do this for yourself. And got me where I am and started the business.
Very nice. And so, Pavithri, I know there's a lot of things to consider inside of the world of HR. What are some of the things that you do that you really have a passion for?
So labor and employment law is what most people consider to be some of the driest, boring laws you can study. And to a degree, I agree. But I'm one of those weird nerds who actually enjoy it quite a bit. I like going down the rabbit hole of trying to figure out why a law came to exist. Because 99.9% of the time, legislators like to create laws because somebody went and did something stupid. And for me, trying to understand why that happened is the most entertaining piece of what I do.
So, since you have such an in-depth knowledge of labor law, what's one story of just something so over the top there had to be a law for it?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I don't know about one specific one, but I will tell you one I came across. So, every state has their own set of laws on top of what the federal laws are. And when you're in employment, you should have, when you're an employer rather, you should have a handbook that has all the federal laws and includes the state laws for the state you're in. So I was writing a handbook specifically for one state, and in there was a very specific line about driving for work and how it's a hands-free cell phone state, all of that. But there was one little line that said, which includes watching videos while driving.
Oh, that's, no.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, it was one of those things where like I had to stop writing the handbook for a minute and start digging into like, who did what, when, where, and why for this law to actually come up. Like, who actually got into the accident watching a video while driving for work that they thought they had to make a law to tell everybody in the state you couldn't watch a video while driving for work.
So, Pavithri, that brings up another really good point, is that there are federal regulations that businesses have to adhere to, but then there's also state and local laws. So
Absolutely.
In a case where the federal law says one thing, but a state law says another, what is a business supposed to do about it?
Whichever gives the employee the greater protection.
Understood. So, Pavithri, let's talk about beyond just the rules and regulations, because there's quite a bit there that affect businesses. But what are some of the other things that you do to help your clients?
So my whole job is to help clients that is a small business, right? Most companies that are very small won't have a full-time HR person that can help kind of guide them through making sure they are staying compliant with government regulations, regardless of whether it's state or federal. And 90% of the time, that's how you end up getting in trouble with fines and litigation. So my job is to kind of help you stay out of those. Outside of that, just regular company policies and procedures. What a lot of people don't think about is setting those consistent practices at the very beginning helps the company out so much in the long run, because it sets the tone to who you want to be as a company and what your company culture is, what your business is about, and how you operate as a business. So I will help them everything from just onboarding paperwork to termination. One of my friends referred to it from hire to either fire or retire, whichever comes first.
That seems like a pretty good slogan, from hired to fired or retired.
Sorry, Brad, stole it from you. Gotta give credit where credit's due.
So Pavithri, let's talk about what really defines a small business, because there are so many of them here in the United States and even globally. So who are those small business clients that you serve?
So I think a small business by definition is different per what each of us do, right? SBA defines it in one way. I define it as under 50 is about where most of my clients' needs are. But as a company, we can actually take on any client up to about 150 employees to help them manage through that liability standpoint. Because liability changes for an employer depending on how many employees you have. So we can help them from starting at 1 all the way to 150 in making sure that they are within compliance.
And so Pavithri, let's talk about, since as one employee, presumably the business owner, before they even hire their first employee is a good time to sit down and talk to you, right?
Nope.
No. Okay.
So the owner is actually not considered an employee.
So you're talking about from the day they hire their first employee, other than themselves.
Right. So the owner wants to start talking to me when they are getting ready to hire their first employee. So solopreneurs. The biggest myth in the business world is that a solopreneur does not need HR help. Any solopreneur that is planning on expanding and hiring an employee should be talking to a HR professional before they make their first hire.
And so Pavithri, let's talk about if, maybe that small business hires their first employee, that solopreneur is now starting to build on a workforce. Can having all of their employee policies and guidelines outlined help protect them in the event they have to terminate that employee?
Absolutely. The more you have in writing, setting the standards and consistency, the better off you are in defending your decisions.
And so Pavithri, what do you love the most about what you do?
I love helping the businesses, right? I love getting in on the front end of a company that is just getting started, because I get to grow with that company and see them succeed. I jokingly say, my job is to help every small business go make their money and keep their money and not pay back in fines and litigation back to the government.
And so let's talk about that. The fines from the government for violations get extremely expensive, extremely fast.
Oh, God, yeah.
So let's talk about some of the most common things that small businesses are fined for. Do you have kind of a top 2 or so things that come to affect small businesses?
So I think Department of Labor is probably the one that gives out the most fines, right? So we're in Indiana. So let's talk about Indiana for a second. Time off. In the state of Indiana, most employers think because the law doesn't specifically say we have to pay unused PTO, paid time off, when somebody leaves the company, that you don't have to. But nobody reads the fine print that says that's only if you say in writing that you will not pay it. So things like that where you're not following, you will get fined if somebody makes a complaint. Or federally, think of OSHA. If you don't file your OSHA 300 in time when you're supposed to, you will get fined.
And so, Pavithri, also one thing to keep in mind is that each state has their own regulations. So you're also able to help businesses with employees in multiple states, correct?
Absolutely. We help all of continental US and any US territory. So as long as they're governed by US law, we will help.
Awesome. And so how can our viewers get a hold of you if they have an employee or human resources question that they really need to have answered?
Absolutely. They can go on the website, www.kpskconsulting.com. They can fill out the contact us page or call us, email, text, any of those work.
Awesome. Well, Pavithri, thank you so much for taking the time to join me here in studio today. And to everyone watching, for all of your employment and HR questions, make sure to give Pavithri Kilgore at KPSK Consulting a call. Now I'd like to share with you a video that was recently posted in the INSPIREsmall.biz library. Harrison Painter, who owns Amplify EQ, shares why it's important for every small business owner to join an authentic networking group.
And make sure that you are part of groups like this, where you can come into, like I create safe spaces for people to come into, high performers that can come in and say, look, out here, I have to be on all the time, man. I got to be looking good, feeling good, successful, looking busy, all those things. But you need a space like this to come into and say, man, Ryan, I'm struggling. You know, my revenue numbers are down. I'm not, for some reason, something's not clicking and I need help. Right. And that's why groups like this are so powerful and so needed. I always say in these type of groups, we're not going to get rich off of each other. You might make a few bucks here and there, get a few referrals, but the power in these groups are in being able to help each other during the bad times, being able to pick each other up during those times, and then being able to celebrate in each other's victories. And I just don't think we do that enough. And I think sometimes our lack of self-awareness gets in the way. We have too much pride. We have too much ego. We have too much bravado, if you will. And you need these spaces to be humble, to be authentic, because I don't care if the guy next to you is making $100 million a year and the one on the left just started their business and they've got zero revenue. You can learn something from both of those people.
All right, everyone, make sure to join us this Wednesday, August 2nd at 10 o'clock a.m. for the next Business First Networking. That's at Old National Bank, 900 South State Road 135 in Greenwood, Indiana. This is a small format network meeting where everyone gets an opportunity to introduce themselves and talk about our discussion question, which this week is, where do you volunteer? So join us for a great morning of networking and share the organizations that you love to support with everyone in attendance. Also coming up on Thursday, August 3rd, is our next Keystone Business Connections meeting. That's at 2 o'clock p.m. at the Old National Bank at 4805 East 96th Street in Indianapolis. I will be our speaker this month, and we're going to talk about why every small business needs to start planning their Small Business Saturday sale now. And I'll share some tips about what you can do to make sure that your business is prepared. On Friday, August 4th, we have the return of Sparks Lunch. This event is sold out. It will be at Jockamo Pizza, 56th Street and Post. The address is 9165 Otis Avenue, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46216. This is a great event that is free to attend. Participants just purchase their own lunch, and we're going to share what Sparks is about and what you can expect at the first Sparks After Hours event that's coming up on Wednesday, August 9th. And special thanks to the Northside Events and Social Club at 2100 East 71st Street in Indianapolis for allowing us to host our After Hours event there. Join us for a great evening of tacos and 3 inspiring comeback stories. Tickets are just $25 if you register in advance, $35 if you show up at the door. INSPIREsmall.biz members get discounted or free tickets. Now, just as a reminder, the taco bar is included in your ticket registration, so join us for a fantastic evening. Our speakers include Danny O'Malia, Amanda Starr, and Jeff Utzinger. Also, don't forget to join us on Friday, August 11th for the next Business Spotlight. That's at Pinheads in Fishers, Indiana, beginning at 11 o'clock a.m. with open networking. We'll start the program approximately 11:20 to 11:30. Register in advance to have your contact information included in the event booklet that everybody gets when they arrive, and everybody in attendance gets 45 seconds on the microphone to talk about your business. Now I'd like to share with you a video about Sparks to share with you the energy that everyone who attends these events gets.
This is my first time attending.
This is my third Sparks event.
I've been attending Sparks since the beginning.
Tom Ford, this is my first time. I'm a rookie.
My name's Kevin Emmons. I've been a Sparks member for about a year.
I've been coming for 3 months now. This is my third one.
Why I already love Sparks?
Why I love Sparks, because it's a great way to meet people.
I love that you never know what you're going to get, and you always walk away with a new perspective.
I mean, listen to it. It's a rambunctious crowd. It's a lot of fun.
It's also a great way to learn about others. You can hear the buzz out here in the crowd. Great way to see some fantastic TED speakers.
When you're done watching a TED Talk, you kind of want to tell everybody about it. Well, at Sparks, you can't.
It's a great event. You hear from a variety of speakers who have a wealth of knowledge.
They asked me the question, why do I love Sparks? I love Sparks because Sparks is what it says it is. It's inspiring, it's uplifting, it's energetic, it's entertaining. It's all that plus a whole lot more.
And why I love Sparks is because it's a message.
It's a great event.
I love it, and you guys got to check it out.
The energy's exciting, and it makes you think.
Don't delay. Click the registration button and grab your ticket for the next Sparks event near you.
All right, everyone, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Bright Ideas Show. Join us next Monday where our guest will be Marty Moran, owner of White Hot Headshot out of Greenfield, Indiana, and he's recently closed his studio to take his photography on the road. So don't miss next week's episode. If you liked today's episode, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you'll get new and upcoming videos of inspiring stories on folks who build their own business. And if you yourself are in the process of building your business, consider becoming a member of INSPIREsmall.biz. You'll get access to our full library of content on a variety of topics relating to building your business, as well as networking events and workshops, where you'll not only connect with fellow entrepreneurs, but learn real skills that you can put to use in your business right away. My name's Ryan Henry, idea guy and co-founder of INSPIREsmall.biz. Thanks for watching.